Most change doesn't begin with a plan, but with discomfort. It starts in that moment you realize something is wrong and you can't ignore it anymore. I'm Saskia Falcon. Welcome to The Odds in Our Favour, a News 24 Good News podcast brought to you by Old Mutual Wealth, helping clients grow, protect and preserve what matters. This is where we ask, what happens when ordinary South Africans stop waiting for systems to work and start fixing what's broken themselves? Most men are taught to keep moving, to run through pain, to stay quiet, to deal with it alone. But what happens when the body keeps moving and the mind can't anymore? Today I'm joined by Stefan van Neel, former professional footballer turned philanthropist, endurance runner, and mental health advocate, who uses extreme physical challenges to raise money, awareness, and space for conversations that men are often taught to avoid. Stefan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Saskia.
Before you were summiting peaks, before you were running tons of trail loops around Lion's Head and raising much needed funds and awareness for cancer and mental health issues, I'd like us to go a little bit back to before this work had a name. When you look back at your childhood and your teenage years, what do you think stands out for you as moments or experiences or even influences that in hindsight, because you know they say hindsight is 20/20, might have prepared you for the work that you're doing today?
So I think it all stems back to my foundation. I have great support from my mom, my dad, and a wholesome family, I'd say. And that all assisted me to, at a young age, step out into the world, try things, try new things, try different things, whether it be sport, whether it be, I'd say, music or different types of things, just to see what I like. And I think the sports side actually stemmed with me, like being athletic, putting my body through vigorous activities and so on. Because, I can say I tried to sing in the choir, it didn't work. So clearly it was for me to be outdoors. Academically, I'd say I wasn't quite strong, but sport allowed me to channel a lot. And I'd say a lot of what I did, I excelled in, whatever I tried. Football was my way of life. Besides being on the track, an track athlete, a hockey player, football was where I
shone.
And I chose that route. And it's not easy, specifically coming from a background where I wasn't always involved, like a community of football. I came from a very, I'd say, affluent area where a lot of the talented kids come from the more, I'd say, colored areas, colored communities, because they continue playing on the streets. And that's what develops talent, the street football, it's that technical ability. I did many sports which helped develop my athletic ability.
And you speak about, you say, I had a wholesome family, and that gave me the support to be able to explore things. Tell us a little bit about that that experience growing up, and also when did you notice that perhaps this wasn't equal for everybody, that this was something actually that was giving you a bit of a launching pad to be able to explore?
So when I talk about the base, it was very, very family orientated, churchly, well guided. And I think the early years of being in primary school, it would cross my mind sometimes and think, okay, this friend of mine is only staying with his mom or he's only staying with his dad. But it's things you don't really understand at that age, when you don't realize at the time, it's like, my family's full, like I have everything as needed. And sometimes, as you get older, you then start realizing that you've actually had a lot more than some people have had. And I think that actually makes you realize, it just builds a whole lot of gratitude within. Yeah, it's things that you just notice as a child, because you want to compare, okay, so why does he have this? Why do I have that? Why does he have more than me? What can I do to get more? And I think also that's what comes to self-infliction, where how can I then get that? Or why don't I have that? Because you're always comparing. But at the end of the day, everybody's circumstance is different. And I feel like at my tender age, I had everything I needed to sort of move forward and become the person I needed to be. But obviously it's never a straight and narrow journey like that.
Did you realize that at the time while you were growing up that, maybe you were a little bit more privileged? than your soccer playing counterparts?
I wouldn't say I thought I was more privileged, but I just thought that I was just very grateful because I've had what a lot of people have not had. And also I was lucky enough with the school I went to was in, it was a previously white school. I moved from different sort of demographics of people. So in the soccer, it's more the more colored, the more African. And when I go to the school, I'm more with the white Afrikaans. It sort of opened my eyes to being different parts of, I'm not sure, different parts of life of where the different people come from. At the same time, I was always also then already like seeing, okay, like trying to also help or give where I can in terms of just helping out with maybe a 1 rand or 2 rand or buying something extra for someone just because I was able to have those small little things.
And you created this self-reflection and this ability to observe gratitude or to be grateful in the moment to your family upbringing.
100%. And also, I think it stems back to that continuous support into going to church, going to catechism. It all revolved around the faith and my faith, sort of understanding more about my faith. I'm a Catholic, so it was just religiously integrated into me to sort of look at not just taking but giving also, and understanding what you have and to be grateful.
You joined Ajax Cape Town Youth Academy at the tender age of 10, and you progressed through all levels, playing professionally for some of the top South African clubs. What role do you think sport played in shaping, when you were younger, how you understood strength and pressure and dealing with emotions?
So sport in general, it teaches you a lot about self-discipline, being motivated, being sort of one within yourself, because at times, even though you're in a sport environment, it becomes lonely. You have to always be, you have to have a certain look to yourself, a face you have to put on. Because when you leave, let's say, the sporting environment, now you can actually sort of take off the mask. Like if you show weakness or you show any sign of, I would say, sadness or disappointment, it can backfire. So I think wanting to excel in any sport, it prepares you for life ahead. Because with anything, if you would like to be successful, you need to have a pattern, you need to have a way, a mechanical process to how you take on your day, to how you eat, how you treat people. Because how you treat people actually plays a big part of developing who you actually are and building your character. So essentially, I'd say sport plays a big role in building the person who you are and who you are going to be.
And I like what you're saying. It's like you can aspire to be a great sportsman, but there's a practicality of action that needs to come in order to realize that aspiration. And it's almost the same kind of thing that you're doing right now, that practicality of it and making it tangible and real. I want to fast forward now to 2020. You're stepping away from professional football, but also it's COVID, it's the pandemic, it's the lockdown, which really had a profound effect on everyone's mental health. What do you recall most of this time, COVID time, lockdown time?
For me, it was a very, I'd say, special time or an important time because I stepped away from football in 6 months before COVID. It was from all the adversities that I've been facing, I just decided that I need to step away. And it was the right decision. I was moved into the corporate world. And when that happened, a lot of my friends struggled with work in terms of football because all sports shut down. And I was in a space where I went from a half cup to a full cup because I have a stable job. I'm now financially stable. And if I was still in that same position, I don't know where I would actually be right now, just because of what I was already facing at the time. So I think making that was probably the best decision I could have made in my life when I made that decision to walk away from something that it's embodied in me. It's what I own. It's the only thing I know. I mean, I'm moving into a world where I don't know anything about corporate. I don't know about working on a PC from 9 to 5, but I was willing to step up and make the change, see what it's about. and also start from the bottom again. I think my biggest goal was starting from the bottom, allowing myself now to work my way up to get where I want to be in terms of setting goals, setting new goals. I'd say it was a very difficult transition also for not just me, but for a lot of people, having to working from home, not seeing people, not driving around, being isolated. It's a big change. Also, no sport. So for someone that comes from sport or being active all the time to now being isolated, created our own gym, it was tough. Mentally it became tough as well. And that's where I decided that I can't be stuck, and I looked for an alternative, and that was trail running or going into the mountain.
Okay, so it started off as going into the mountain.
100%.
Tell me about that.
So at the time, I had my bike needed to train me for all the years. He was a adventure runner, mountain biker, and then he was prepping for what's called 13 Peaks. I think it's a sort of a challenge that they took off during COVID because there was no races, there was nothing. And the mountain was the only place where it was open, it was free. So then I just decided, I asked him, when he goes, let me go with him once. And then I think the rest is history where I went once. It was hard. I mean, I'm an endurance runner. So I think that feeling of with adversity you've faced before, now putting that into sort of the running adversity. When I say running adversity, it's the toughness or the exhaustion of having to, let's say, run 5Ks to actually finish at 5Ks in that feeling that you're feeling, in that tiredness, in that tired legs. So that allowed me then to sort of transfer a lot of, I'd say, demons to sort of get it off my shoulders. Because this is exactly where it started, like why I enjoyed it. Because when I do hard things, once I've completed something hard, I feel accomplished. And that's why I just kept on doing it again, going back, because it was hard and I feel accomplished. So when things get tough and I can overcome something, that running gave me that happy feeling. When I'm done, I feel like the world is watching me, but at the meantime, it's just me against the world.
You speak very openly about your own struggles with depression and mental health. Would you say that this, with going to the mountain, that feeling of accomplishment, and how, in your own words, you say you were able to deal with some of your demons, do you say that this is where you started then becoming an advocate for mental health? Because it's one thing having to deal with your own stuff, but then to say, actually, I'm going to be an advocate for this and I'm going to bring it out of the darkness and into the light. I'm not going to be silent about this anymore. Was that the same time that you made that decision?
So it was leading towards that. The more I started running, the more I started feeling good, the more I got perspective of a lot. Running was basically my therapy. So I never really saw us. I think I had 2 breakdowns in my lifespan where I did see a psychologist, but even before that, I dealt with my depression on my own. I did my research, understood what was happening, and I just went through it in my own time. So fast forward with this new sort of take of running and just enjoying the running high. That's the runner's high. It allowed me even to give myself more perspective, thinking of a lot of things that happened and why. And it's just like your mind is just free.
Now, it's very well known that men are raised not to cry or to show any emotion that can be seen as a weakness. You, however, are very vocal about talking about feelings and have even cried on social media. Why do you think it's so important to be able to cry and for people to see a man cry?
So I think that we as human beings, we are caught up in our day-to-day lives. We need to always be the hero of the house, the hero of ourselves all the time. But sometimes that hero also gets tired. That hero becomes exhausted, and life happens. And sometimes a good cry just makes you feel better. So if you're having a bad day or there's nothing wrong with just stopping and being emotional, we don't have to fight ourselves. We can rather be within ourselves and become content with how we're actually feeling. So it's the same as when something good happens, you're happy, you're laughing, you're joyful, you take photos, you enjoy that moment. Why not also live that same way or that same moment, you know, get bad news or have a bad day, you said, allow yourself to be sad. Do not fight. Do not go against yourself. And in that way, you release yourself. So I'm not a psychologist, but you release a certain hormone that makes you feel better. And a lot of the time, with sharing or being vulnerable on social media, it's not only just for me. It's to show the people out there that I'm not just happy-go-lucky, because all you see is me running me happy. No, I want to show you the raw. I want to show you everything, because social media can be very deceiving, where you think, okay, this one has all that, he's living like that. But in the meantime, what's actually happening behind the closed doors? Like, is it actually the truth? So with people sort of look at me and always think I'm happy, I'm not always happy. Obviously with COVID also, we've experienced a lot of death. And I think for me, not just through COVID, but death came through suicides, through depression, people not being able to find work, losing work, etc. And for me, it was more of death has actually been normalized now. Before, if someone passes away, it's a big thing, like he's young, but it was every day. It was normalized. And I think that with that, it made me also think that life is short. We don't have to wait for someone to pass away to understand that life is short. Like, if you want to do something, do it. Like, live today like it's your last, because you never know when it's your time. And with that, I sort of picked up these small motivations of life, like life itself, and what I can do more in my short lifetime, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So as a teenager, I was reading this book that my mom gave me, called Wide Awake. And there was a specific saying that stuck with me. I think there was a saying that stuck with me then already. And I actually made a Facebook status about it. And it was, there's a hero within you waiting to be awakened. And that hit me hard, I would say 12 years later, after I helped Iris, our children's hospice, keep the doors open. So it just hit differently. But if I move back to how the start of it, it was more just the understanding of life itself, like how short life is and how I can make the difference, at least try, because now my cup is full. I want to give back and use that.
Wealth is about more than just numbers. It's about what you're shaping, your ambitions, your priorities, your legacy. That's why Old Mutual Wealth partners with skilled financial planners to bring the expertise of a leading wealth manager to your strategy. They help you make sense of both local and global opportunities, offering clear strategic insight so you can make confident decisions, whether you're building your wealth, protecting it, or shaping your financial future. Take your wealth further.
Stefan, I want to pick up on the incredible work that you did with Iris House. But before we get there, you shared a little bit about how trail running helped you to navigate your own mental health challenges. Now I'm curious, how did you go from that to what were the first steps of you then becoming a philanthropist?
So at the time, I was not sure what the term philanthropist was, not in my vocabulary at all. It was more just understanding of how I can come make a difference. So with COVID, we understand people struggle to live, to eat, to put food on the table. And I think the first project that I did, it was with my mom, where I decided, okay, a friend of mine was always selling things. So I thought, okay, why can't I do the same thing and use, let's say, I don't profit anything, but part of the of what I make goes towards something good. So what I did was I was selling 1 kilogram of this sugar woolly sweets. I bought like a batch of it, and I would sell it within my neighborhood on the neighborhood group, and we would then make soup jars for church church groups within the area, in the surrounding area. So it's because it was easy to make, we collected the coffee jars and then used the money that we made to get the ingredients, and then we just went to go donate it to different churches around. So that's actually where it started. And then, so my aunt passed to cancer. She was struggling, fighting for about a couple of weeks. And then not long after that, an uncle of mine as well. But also before that, my brother's dad with different fathers, my eldest brother, his father, healthy as a fiddle. And within a month, he just deteriorated. And also, so this is all cancer related and how I came about it. And then I just thought, I'm running for a year now. It's a year later. What can I do to help those that are suffering actually to get treatment in time? Because another ex-colleague of mine, or I would say a teammate of mine in my junior years, at 26 years old, they created a WhatsApp group to say, this is what's happening, can we get money? But it was too late and nothing could be done. So that sort of effects came onto, it's all coming closer to me now, so let me try. And also my uncle of 70 years old, my mom's brother, he's a cancer survivor at 70. So let me just try and make it possible for those that can get treatment, to give them hope. And then the idea was just to celebrate those that have passed on, and then also raise money for care homes. Because so the care homes, there's various care homes around the Western Cape, which home cancer patients that are unable to afford the actual treatment. So they come from out of Cape Town and they home them. They feed them, they take them for treatment, own them, and then drop them again, etc. And that's also, it's money, so it's costly all the time. So I contacted Lelani from Cancer Association, and then the first project was for the Tigerberg Care, which the goal was to raise just 10,000 Rand. So the first project was 2022. So this is a year later. I think COVID started 2020, and in 2021, it sort of started to build up and etc. So 2022 it came, and I was like, and also the stability in mind, I'm fascinated about peaks. I'm fascinated about the mountain.
Right.
And now it's like, okay, so I've climbed Table Mountain. There's Devil's Peak, there's Lion's Head. Could I do all three in one day? Not even one day, in a certain time frame.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how I started to think. And it was all just usually when you want to do something, you always ask, and you end up waiting, and people put you down. And I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I wasn't quite prepared physically because I've only just been running, like, say, 7 kilometers, 5 kilometers.
Wow.
And I decided, I think, 2022, end of February, like, I'm going to do it. I put together, because I do content, I put together a flyer, and then I put it out there. So now it's out there. I have to now do this thing. Yeah.
Got to do the things.
And the goal was 10,000 Rand. Just 10,000 too. I mean, I had good support from my dad and my mom. I mean, throughout my sporting career, they were there. 27, 28 years old, they're still there supporting me. I'm now 33, they're still there supporting me. They don't understand why I do these things or why I decide to put my body through this, because they always look sad when they see me in the state, but they're supporting what I'm doing. And then, so the first challenge, or the first campaign, it was a cancer campaign in 2022 March for Tigerberg Cancer Care. I did the 3 peaks, which is, I started Signal Hill, I did Devil's Peak, I did McClear's Beacon, which is on the top of Table Mountain, and in Lion's Head, and I finished back at Signal Hill. So the challenge was 5 hours. So essentially, I just sort of worked out how long it took me to get up one mountain. 5 hours is it's hard. Yeah, and it was, like I said, I was ill-equipped. I didn't have the essentials that a normal trail runner would have to do that, but I ended up doing it.
You did it, and you raised your 10K?
I raised 25,000.
25,000, my goodness gracious. And then Iris House?
Yeah, and then it was, Iris House came in October, I think. I was busy. I was actually planning.
October of the same year.
Of this 2022, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually planning and seeing what I could do for mental health, because I wanted to do both at the same time, but I decided it's too much. So obviously, because when I do something, I want to do everything. Now you can be overzealous at times. And then a family, so we have a family friend of ours. He is mentally challenged. And he is being part of Ida's House for many years. So the grandmother sent me the flyer of Ida's House, reaching out to, just sharing that they're in a bit of a struggle because many of the events are obviously cancelled because of COVID. And it is government funding, but it doesn't cover much or a lot. And then for me, it was I just weighed up the cons, like which is more important, they need it now. And then I went to meet Sue van der Linde. She runs Iris House. She's the founder of Iris House. The mom, she took over from her mom who started it. So Iris House, essentially, they offer free services to children with special needs, where the government funded or the MPO and the 11 fund. So what they do is they just assist parents and kids that are with special needs, and it's throughout the Western Cape. I don't know the exact number at the moment of how much children that they look after, but it's quite a lot, and they do a phenomenal job. So I went around and I was taken back, and I was like, now it changes my perspective of now I'm starting to move with a purpose, because there are those that are unable to move and I am able to move. So now using that insight to now help them make a difference. So now I went from, so essentially my whole mantra was pushing boundaries. I just say this in the beginning, the running, push, because I've never ran so far before. So now I'm pushing my personal boundaries. Now I move from pushing boundaries to moving with a purpose. So I've reached the boundary. Now I need to channel that boundary, push further, but the purpose makes it more worthwhile.
Would you say across the work, what are some of the key impacts or achievements that you're most proud of? Because you're essentially one man on a mission. There's not an organization behind you, and you going out and you're partnering with people, but it's just you. What are some of the key impacts that you're most proud of and achievements?
Yeah, so that overzealous in me, I wanted to do everything in one go. But as they say, like, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So everything you do is a process, and it's just part of the journey. So the journey is you're gonna encounter speed bumps, you're gonna encounter mountains you're gonna have to climb. But at the end of the day, it's about being present in those moments, because that's also what builds your character, and also identifies things about yourself. And I think that's what I liked most about this journey, was it helped me, I'd say, reinvent myself and find my identity of who I actually am, losing myself along the way. I think one of the biggest achievements was being able to find myself again, finding myself with trying to help the next person. Besides the money that I raised or the awareness, it was also a way for me to actually identify that who I actually am, because I lost myself along the way.
Do you think that a lot of South Africans understand this importance of service to others, giving back?
If I'm going to be honest with you, and I think also this is probably one of the things that also frustrated me a bit. I mean, I don't have a big following. You have those that have big followings out there, and that's why I think I don't find people with big followings, like, they're not necessarily, they're influencers, but they're not influential. Everything is money driven. It's how they can benefit. So if I'm honest, I don't think a lot of them are for others. It's more so for themselves and how they can sort of shine bright. But you can also shine bright by giving back, making an impact where it actually matters, because you have the platform, you have the following. And that's frustrated me, because when I reached out to help get awareness or raise funds for those in need, they wouldn't help, because how they're going to benefit. They didn't see any benefit to doing, going out there and doing the charitable thing, I'd say.
And I mean, I think a testament to the impact then is the fact that the work that you did kept the doors of Iris House open, and they are still open. So that is testament to one person's impact that can affect, and I think it's more than 600 families that Iris House currently supports. And that's a large amount of impact. For someone who maybe is thinking about getting involved, what would you say to them? Being on the other side, having seen that you found the hero, you met the hero inside you, what motivation would you give them to begin that hero's journey?
So I think if you have a plan, if you have something you want to do, don't wait. Don't let time go, because time goes, and at the end of the day, nothing actually happens. Write it down, put it in your head, even tell a friend. Once you put it out there, you then have to take action. Because I feel like anything, sort of goals or ideas are just ideas until it's spoken. And once it's out there, you have to follow through. So if you want to do something, don't wait for anybody to do it. Do it. The rest will follow once they see what is actually happening.
So I want to ask you, you're planning to launch an MPO, I believe. Tell us a little, can you share us a little bit about that, or is it still a little bit too soon?
I guess I could share, but it's been in the pipeline. It's just taken it back slightly just because of life. But yeah, the idea is to launch a MPO with another event itself. But the whole idea about it is so that people can reach out to me directly, and then I'm able to help you without thinking. Because at the moment, I mean, doing things on your own, it's costly, it's time, it's exhausting. So once I have the right measures in place, I'm then able to then help where I can, whether it's a small, a tiny, a micro. At least I'll be able to contribute as far as I can, and it will be across the board for anything basically. So I'm in the football industry, within the cancer, the charitable, school shoot, those kind of things where the people, there's always things that are needed, and my dad is also very involved. So there's a lot of context, a lot of connections to be able to give back to a lot of these such people that are in need.
Lastly, I want to ask you, what makes you hopeful about South Africa?
I think personally, it's the more we talk openly and address things, the more we will be able to grow as a nation. Because the more we just go about our day, worry about ourselves, love just within, we live past each other. So for people to just be able to speak more openly, yes, we're facing a lot of adversity, and there's a lot of things. But at the same time, if people can come together, let's work together, uplift one another, and help each other where we can. We can't help everybody. But at the same time, if you can help one person, that person can then help the next person, and it's a ripple effect.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Thank you for sharing with us today. Your story reminds us that sometimes fixing what's broken actually begins with ourselves. Through your own struggle with mental health, you turned to extreme physical challenges to find balance, purpose, and a way to give back. For listeners, this isn't just about running or philanthropy. It's actually about challenging the rules that say some people must suffer in silence, some have, and some don't. And through using gratitude and self-reflection, you can actually create a space for conversations and impact that matters. Most South Africans have stopped waiting for politicians and government departments to do what they're meant to do, which is basically their jobs. So the real question is this: do we keep lamenting bad luck and broken systems, or do we step in and do what our communities need us to do? Thank you for listening to The Odds in Our Favour. I'm Saskia Falcon, and this News 24 Good News podcast was proudly brought to you by Old Mutual Wealth, helping clients grow, protect, and preserve what matters most with investment strategies designed to support your legacy. Old Mutual Wealth is an authorized financial services provider.